It is a great pleasure, personally, to introduce to you the renowned specialist, Diana Bermúdez, on the subject, benefits of virtual classes and what tools to use. Diana Bermúdez is a seasoned educator with over 20 years of experience in teaching English as a foreign language. She holds a bachelor's degree in education and a master's degree in applied linguistics, specializing in the teaching of English as a foreign language. In 2020, she earned her certification as a TESOL teacher trainer, sponsored by Rilo Andes and the American Embassy. Over the past decade, Diana has distinguished herself as a teacher trainer and academic consultant, working with notable organizations such as Richmond Publishing, Berlitz Live Online, and Ricardo Palma University. In 2023, she was invited to present at the ELT Virtual Summit, organized by Ricardo Palma University and Nat Geo, and she shared insights on digital tools for online education. Additionally, she was a speaker at the TDC 2023 conference, sponsored by SBS Más Educación, where she addressed the evolving role of TFL in the era of artificial intelligence. With extensive experience in training teachers from various countries, Diana is deeply committed to sound pedagogy, best teaching practices, and leveraging technology to enhance the student learning experience. Welcome to the TDC again, Diana.
Hello, it is a pleasure for me to be here. I'm deeply honored and grateful. Thank you so much for that great introduction, Geraldine. It's good to see you again, and good to be here this evening, connected with all of you, different teachers from different parts of our beautiful country. It is really an honor for me to be part of this event that gathers, experts in the field, people that you can learn from, like Mr. Toledo that we just listened to, and of course to share together. That's what teachers do best. We share ideas, we share what works for us, we share also our struggles and what has helped us overcome them. This particular topic is on virtual classes, the benefits and tools to use. I want to make sure that you can see my screen. I'm just checking. Let me see. Okay, here we are. Okay. All right. So for today, what I would like us to do is go over the benefits of virtual classes. Yes, we're going to review the impact of virtual classes on learner autonomy, specifically at Ricardo Palma University. As you probably saw in the video, we have a very humanistic approach. So virtual classes impact on learner autonomy greatly, and of course promote self-directed learning. We're going to go over digital tools for EFL teachers and students, and of course we're going to focus on the practical use. So a lot of the things you're going to see today are going to be detailed ways to work with some digital tools that, of course, like Mr. Toledo mentioned, can be enhanced by artificial intelligence. So the first point could be to look at what virtual classes offer, right? According to an article published by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, they have a section of MIT called Open Learning that focuses on virtual education. So in this article, they talked about, let's say, all the virtues of virtual online learning. And I gather three main points, three main areas in which virtual education impacts on the students. And so the first one is flexibility, right? Learners complete coursework at their own pace. And now that we have students, for example, we have teachers connected from different parts of the country. They're choosing, from where to connect, depending on what they have to do, besides being here. So it is really, really easy for a lot of students now to be able to handle their online courses because they have this flexibility. It's also easier for students to choose the best time that is more convenient for them. Now, this second point, I think I chose it because I've heard a lot of criticism regarding virtual classes. I've heard a lot of people say that there isn't enough support. However, there is research out there and there is literature that proves the contrary. In the virtual environment, many students report that they created and they found a community. And the reason why is because they had to seek out help. They found people that were in their same situation, their same shoes, trying to learn online. And they were able to share their struggles together, share their difficulties, and find ways to overcome them and share together how they were getting ahead, right? So this network that they were able to create was very motivating for them. They were also reporting that connecting with like-minded individuals also helped them to pursue and finish their online courses, providing, added motivation and support. Now, one of the key, I think, advantages of virtual classes is how it empowers us as students. And I've seen that in myself as someone that completed, postgraduate studies online. Self-directed learning is one of the things that virtual education gave me. Self-directed learning is the idea that students learn on their own with the right environment, guidance, materials, and assignment. And that can happen in the virtual environment, in the virtual classes. And of course, one important element or one important ingredient to be able to be successful as self-directed learners is to know ourselves, to know how we learn better, to understand our preferences, the best time for us to engage with the reading, the best time for us to sit and work on forums, the best places in the house where we will be able to chat or to have our synchronous or live sessions, let's say. All this self-assessment, exploration of what works for us, empowers us and drives our autonomy. That is not only helpful for language learning, but for life. We can extrapolate it to different areas of life. So self-directed learning, and it's something that we can go into a little deeper. Let's go into a little deeper. Self-directed learning. So as I mentioned in the agenda, we want to tap into learner autonomy. So when I studied self-directed learning, I realized that actually the original name, the original way we knew about it was as autonomous learning. And this was a buzzword when I was working in face-to-face language center. We wanted to create projects that will promote autonomous learning. And we created, we studied that, we researched it with our peers, and then we gave presentations about it. But in essence, autonomous learning, I'm going to use one quote from the Common European Framework. They published their book in 2001 on, some research on autonomous learning. For them, basically, in a nutshell, it's just making sure that your students know they learn to learn and they know how they can learn better. So there is a lot of metacognition involved. For them, it is a process in which learners become increasingly aware of the way that they learn, the options open to them, and the options that best suit them. It's like they get this power or this control over the decision-making process for learning. Now, self-directed learning, for just to be maybe a little bit more precise, there are many definitions out there. I chose one from the Metropolitan College of New York that says that learning, self-directed learning, is the learning process that helps the students develop the skills and confidence needed to learn in all environments. So if you want to succeed in life in general, you should be a self-directed learner because you need the skills to tackle all things that life may throw out at you, right? So I think this was a very good umbrella term, not to develop the skills that we need to confidently, face the world, face learning that we need to undertake. Now, this, like I said, is not only for language teaching, but it is true across the different fields. Like, for example, the National Library of Medicine, they conducted a research also on self-directed learning in medical school. So for them, students, self-directed learning students initiate the process by setting learning objectives. This was new for me because I set the objectives for my students, and also the place I work for, they set the objectives for me. However, working in the online environment, I have noticed that many of my students come with the specific objectives they have for themselves. They tell me, I'm going to travel, for example, I'm going to travel next month, and I need to make sure that I can handle these type of conversations because I'm going to meet 3 people, 3 key sales managers, for example. So these self-directed learners that I have had to work with, they showed me and they proved that, yes, these self-directed learners, they have their objectives very clear. They identify assessments that allow feedback. And of course, they identify resources to help them reach their goals. Definitely empowered individuals, right? Now, what is important for us, specifically for this presentation, is how online learning can drive this self-directed learning that we want in our students and, of course, in ourselves. There is a study conducted by the IG Global, the Journal of Organizational and End-User Computing. So in the world of computing, cloud computing, they put up a study, and they basically mentioned that they were able to identify 3. There were actually more. I think I chose these 3 because for me, they were key for this presentation, especially for the tools that we're going to use later. We want our students to achieve their goals. We want our students to have a clear goal in mind, to have definite intentions, and we also want them to have initiative in our classes. So in the online environment, we can promote that. We can create in our students this desire to achieve their goals. Also, in online learning, in virtual classes, we can see students that are very self-motivated. Many of them choose virtual classes because they don't have the time to attend, in-person lessons, and they have this intrinsic motivation to get ahead. And that definitely impacts their learning. It enhances them. It drives their participation and their willingness to interact. The interactions of people that are highly motivated are really rich and very deep. And the other important thing is the strategies. So self-directed learners adopt different strategies to achieve study goals. So they become strategists people. And like I said, I've seen that in a lot of my students, but that doesn't come out of just our students. It comes because they are in an conducive environment. We're going to look at the environment that we need in the virtual classes so that our students could become goal achievers, self-motivated, and to manage all these strategies. So we have a lot of people that we can look up to that are successful self-directed learners. And one of them, and that was a picture I was going to show, one of them is the CEO of X, the founder of PayPal, SpaceX, Tesla, and Neuralink. You probably know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Elon Musk. Elon Musk is probably the epitome, right, of a self-directed learner. He is a self-taught engineer, a coder who learned from books, and he is an advocate of online courses. He learned a lot of engineering through online courses and mentors. I thought it was very important to bring this example because he embodies what a self-directed learner can become, right? A risk taker, a problem solver. And of course, he's not the only one. There are many examples out there. To summarize what virtual classes can stimulate our students to become, students can become self-directed learners like Elon Musk and many others, problem solvers, and like I said at the beginning, part of a community that is very motivating. They learn skills to manage time and resources. They have motivation for goal achievement. Now, the problem-solving part is also something that I experienced myself as a learner. I was taking different courses. I have taken different courses online. And there are struggles that we face. For example, sometimes we don't find the best way to work on an assignment, we need more information to understand the requirements of an assignment. Sometimes we don't find enough information to be able to answer questions. And that prompts us to be creative, to go online and ask questions, look for people that have experience in the field that can help us. So all these need and necessity to be able to find answers helps us, develop the skill of problem solving that is essential, right, for the 21st century. And again, this also makes us part of a community that is now also international. Now, I have colleagues and friends that I studied with that are all over the world. We're still in touch, and we help each other a lot whenever there are questions regarding, best ways to correct the students, or sometimes we discuss, alternatives for pronunciation, how to help our students with their pronunciation. Like I said, there are many people that have become very successful from just virtual classes, online learning, while they were pursuing, or they were, pursuing different things in life. Nelson Mandela, he was in prison while he was also completing his distance education. Back in the time, it wasn't online. But for example, Venus Williams, while she was playing tennis and participating in different matches, she was also working on her business degree, and she got it. She became a businesswoman, graduating from an American university, but she completed her studies online. And so she is. When you hear about her story and you read it, you realize that she overcame a lot of problems and struggles when she studied online, but she also enjoyed the process of learning at her own pace and managing her time and life at the same time, right? Alrighty. So the virtual environment, like I said, the main objective or the purpose of our virtual environment should be to transform our students from a passive role into a active role. Yes, we want our students to be active. And of course, everything that encompasses the virtual environment can help our students different ways. Study from different, language centers or schools that provide virtual or online lessons. They say, for example, that one of the benefits or one of the characteristics of the online environment could be customizable teaching. Students, there's more increased inclusivity. And this happened to me that I was able to teach one time. I was teaching English for, Ricardo, Palma University, and I had students from Amazonas. And that was the first time that I was able to teach someone living in Amazonas. That was a very rainy area, and she had struggles with rain, a lot of rain, and so she had connection problems. But she told us that she would have never been able to take English lessons with Ricardo Palma University if it hadn't been for this virtual environment that was created. So inclusivity is definitely a plus there for virtual classes. The comfort that you don't need to be sitting down now. You can choose if you want to have your stand-up desks, or the comfort of any part of your house. There is also cost saving. Of course, you want with virtual learning, there's a reduction in the cost when it comes to transportation, maybe materials. Interactions with people outside of your community, improve accessibility as well. And of course, the one that I mentioned when we talked about Venus Williams is managing your resources, right? Your time and different things that you have to also work on. It makes it more manageable when you are the agent and you can make decisions about when, how, and why to study. Alrighty, so having laid the foundation for the benefits that the virtual environment, virtual classes can provide us teachers that want to study, and also for our students, we can go into the practical aspect. So we have a lot of resources as teachers. Our virtual environment, like we saw Mr. Toledo, he mentioned that in his presentation, he mentioned that AI has definitely entered, the picture to provide so much support to teachers and students. And we can harness that in the best way to help our students reach their goals. So we're going to go into the resources that we have available for the virtual environment, especially the ones that are powered by artificial intelligence. So for teachers and students, AI-powered tools that we can use in a practical way. Before we get started, what kind of AI-powered tools do our students need? Think about it for a moment. My students, one student recently asked me for an app that could help him improve his reading. He doesn't use a lot of English at work, but he needs to read. He wants to stay in touch with the language, and he feels like reading is one of those. And he wants to read something that is not too difficult, he's at his level, and something that is, digestible, something short, not the news article that is, like, I don't know, 5-6 paragraphs long, but something short. And I found the right app that I'm going to share with you in this presentation. But so tell me in the chat, if you will, what do your students need and which AI tool? I know you mentioned, and some of you mentioned in the chat, Speak and Improve, for example. So speaking definitely is one of those areas that our students need help with. But what else? Let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to wait a little bit and see. Okay, Gracia, thank you. Fluency. Thank you, Gracia. Good job. So fluency for Gracia and Ariana, pronunciation. Thank you so much, ladies. And grammar. Okay, so let's get started with one that Ariana mentioned. Yeah, and before we get into the practical use, we are going to just be mindful of the considerations. Yeah, when we want to teach pronunciation, British Council, for example, tells us that we need to look for tools that are going to help our students listen so that they can imitate and then, of course, speak. We need to find tools that are going to allow students to record themselves so that they can see if they are imitating the sounds correctly. We need to find a tool that is going to help our students learn the symbols, because that's not something that we do in Spanish, and that's something that helps the students improve, especially segmentals, right? And we need to find a tool that's going to help our students focus on confusing sounds that we don't have in Spanish. And I found the artificial intelligence tool or AI-powered tool just for that. It has the option to listen and speak, record yourself, learn the symbols, and also focus on confusing sounds. I'm talking about for now it's free, and I've used it a lot. My students are using it right now, and I'm sure it's going to be helpful. One important consideration before I show you is that as teachers, and this is something that also Mr. Toledo said, we need to be very, very clear in our instructions and directions. So I'm going to try to do that just now. I'm going to try to give you very precise instructions on how to use it, model how to use it, so that then you can learn it yourself, learning well enough, so then you can show your learners, right? And of course, when it comes to pronunciation at lower levels, we need to encourage our learners to develop their listening so that they can identify sounds and imitation, right? A lower level imitation is the key. So let's go with this. This is called the Speech Ace. So we're going to go to speechace.com. I'm going to go in a minute. I'm just going to walk you through the steps. So it is an AI-powered website now that focuses on pronunciation and fluency. You're going to click on the Try in Browser. It does not require to create an account for this part. When you click on Try in Browser, you're going to see something like a dashboard or a learning path. And it's going to have free resources for pronunciation at 2 levels. There's one, let me see if I can highlighter. One for level 1 over here, and then one for beginner level over here. There we go. And let's see if I can go. Okay, so if I wanted my students to, at lower levels, to improve their pronunciation of vowel sounds so that they can become familiarized with the vowels, for example, the schwa sound, or the short E and the long E, or the short U and the long U, no? I can use this tool. I'm going to tell them to go to the section vowels. And in the section of vowels, they are going to see 5 lessons that are for free. And then they can choose which minimal pair or which vowels to focus on. Yeah? So let me show you very quickly. Okay, here we are. So this is the homepage. No? Then you click on Try in Browser like I showed you. You have a level 1 section and beginner section, but we're going to go to the vowel section. And I'm going to go with the short U and the long U to give you an example. Yes. The first one, I already did it, but I'm going to choose another one to show you. Okay. So I think I'm going to have to stop sharing and share again so that you can hear this. Let me try. Okay.
Cook.
I'm going to play it.
Cook.
Yes. And I'm going to say it. Cool. Oh, just allow my microphone. Cook. Alrighty. As you can see, it immediately gave me feedback. 77%. It said select the underlined word to see what you need to focus on. So this is just the percentage of correction, let's say. And over here, I can click on cook and it will tell me what sound was not right. It says that K, I pronounced K correctly. I pronounced the ending well, but not the vowel. So I have to work on it again, right? So let's look
Cook.
to it again. It's
Cook.
the short one, as you can see. So I have to pronounce the short O. Cook. Okay, now I got it. So it told me, okay, it's 100%, and I can continue on to another one. And I can do so. So now, like I showed you, the application or the AI powered tool is going to give you feedback immediately after you try it. So if you can right now, go to speechace.com and let's practice. Go to Try in Browser. Yes, you're going to go to the section of consonants now. Yes, click on consonants and select any consonant you want to focus on that you think maybe could help your learners. Maybe your learners who struggle with the sound or the th or j, for example, or the ch sound. Click on the word click on the play icon so that you can listen to the pronunciation of the word first. And then once you're ready, once you know that you have heard it several times, click on the microphone so that you can repeat and imitate, focus on imitating the sound. You're going to get feedback on your pronunciation right away, but then you can also click on the play icon next to the microphone to hear how you pronounce the word and how close it is to the target. Yes. And then you're going to see, once you give your answer, record yourself, you can check how well you did by clicking on the word, and it's going to be highlighted. And you're going to be able to see which sounds were clear and you pronounced them correctly and which sounds you need to work on so you can do it again. Yes, click on the word like I said here. When you try again, then of course you would see an improvement in your score. And you could practice that so that when you have to show it to your students, you can show them, okay, the first time that I did it, it didn't sound, but I listened to it one more time. And then once I got it, I was able to replicate or imitate the sound well, and I got a better percentage. So if you can, yeah, very good. Ariana says very good and easy to use. Yes, it's very easy to use. For now, like I said, this AI power tool is free for teachers and students. So my students have been enjoying it a lot, especially, like I said, for those, like British Council says, those difficult sounds we don't have in Spanish. If you want to share in the chat, if you practice this in the consonants, go ahead and share in the chat how well you did. You can say, for example, I practiced the word cook like I did in the first. I got 77% because I didn't pronounce the vowel correctly. I didn't pronounce it. I didn't pronounce the short u. And then when I did it again, I got 100%. So you can give us that report in the chat. But there are other aspects of pronunciation that our students may struggle with, and this is something I think all the teachers have faced here in Spanish speakers. We struggle with the third person verb endings. We don't have that, I guess, in our language, right? So there is one lesson 6 here. It says provide. Lesson 6 is the simple present. So if your students struggle with the simple present, you can tell them, okay, let's go to level 1, go to lesson 6, and let's practice focusing on the ending of the third person verb. So, for example, in this exercise is my father, and of course I have to say lives, right? In Guangzhou. The first time I did it for practice, it told me that pronunciation was not right. Then I tried again, and they told me the Z was missing. This sound at the end was missing, and also the E was not pronounced correctly. So students will get immediate feedback. And then, of course, if they click on the verb, they will know exactly which sound they need to work on. So if you want to right now, again, you can go to the level 1 section, and now let's say focus on lesson 9, which is another thing that our students struggle with, which is the pronunciation of the irregular verbs in the past. Now we have the 3, we have the t, the d, and the id pronunciation. So sometimes our students struggle to, for example, say helped or cooked. They need to improve in that ending. So we can tell them, okay, let's go here, level 1, lesson 9. Listen to how the verbs are pronounced several times if needed, and then imitate. Yes, and record yourself. Then check your feedback. If your pronunciation is off, don't worry. Listen to it again, try again, record yourself again, and share how it went. Of course, you can share in the chat. If you're trying it right now, check in the chat, and then we'll be able to also see how your experience went. So this tool can help our students with their pronunciation. No? For example, with the vowel sound, consonant sounds are difficult. The simple present, the verb endings in simple present, the verb endings in simple past. But what's important to remember is that some students might be a little obsessive with results. They might say, oh, I never get 100%, for example, and this happened to me. One student told me, I don't seem to get it right. So should we strive for perfect pronunciation? And the answer is no, right? With these kinds of tools, we have to tell our students that we want to focus on progress. The first time that you do this, you're going to get feedback, and maybe there are things you need to work on, and you're going to focus on those things to work on. If you listen again and then practice again and again, you should move forward. You should get a higher percentage. It's okay if you don't get to 100. The important thing is to move forward, to go higher, and to have a clearer and more intelligible pronunciation. Now, another thing is that some students say, but it's only words, right? Should we just limit our practice to just words or sounds? Pronunciation is not just sounds. And the answer, of course, is, of course, not. Students should be able to work on this as a foundation, but of course, this AI tool offers also work on other aspects of pronunciation, not just units, not just words. We should be able to move from units to sentences as well. So this, when it comes to, let's say, speaking practice now, not just pronunciation, this AI tool offers something that I've never seen before, and something that I've been looking for a long time. We have at Ricardo Palma University and the Specialization program, at the end of the program, teachers can take the TOEFL test. But before they take the TOEFL, they sometimes ask, for example, I want to know my level because I want to make sure that I'm ready to take the TOEFL. This AI-powered tool can help assess your speaking according to the Common European Framework. There is a section that says take the test, and it's going to focus on pronunciation, fluency, vocabulary, and grammar, but just for the speaking section. So it's not gonna assess your writing skills or specific vocabulary knowledge. It's going to listen to you and based on how you speak, give you feedback and tell you what your level could be according to the CEFR. When you click on take the test, you're going to see about 19 different areas in which the test can be taken. But this part requires an account. So I had to go ahead just to be able to understand how these work. I had to create an account. I created an account very easily. And then there was an avatar, an AI, like a chatbot, but with an avatar that asked me to test my microphone first. And then I chose I remember I showed you over here that it had different areas. I chose jobs to have the test on. Okay, so the AI will ask you a question and then give you 30 seconds to prepare, 30 seconds of preparation time. And this is something that happens in the real test. If you've ever taken any of the Cambridge or, TOEFL or Michigan, you know that there is preparation time of about 30 or 40 seconds and then 60 seconds to give your answer, right? So there will be just 3 questions that it will ask you, and it will give you preparation time, and then you have to speak. Based on the answers that you give, then it's going to give you your results. The results are going to be specific in the 4 areas: pronunciation, fluency, vocabulary, and grammar. And then it's going to tell you what the CEFR level you reached, and per category or per skill, let's say, and also per question. So it might say that you reached C2 in question 1, but C1 in question 2, and maybe B2 in question 3. So it's very detailed and specific. And it can, when my students took it, so we were at the lab and we all, took it together. They were like, okay, now I understand that I really need to focus on my vocabulary because that I was using too simple words. I need to make it richer so I can sound more advanced. And this was very empowering for my students because it gave them a sense of direction. Like before they were studying or preparing for a test, but now they know what to focus on. They know their weaknesses, vocabulary, so they can better use their time for preparing, right? So that is one of the ways that speechace.com can help our students. And that one way that artificial intelligence can also help us as teachers if we want to prepare for an international exam. Yeah, it's really amazing. Very good. So I just want to comment on what David said. David said he practiced wanted and he got 87%. The T was missing. Very good job, David. That's exactly what you want to do. And then you want to show your students, listen, this is what I did. And I got 87%, but I'm going to try again. I'm going to try harder with that sound at the end so that I can get a higher score. So that practice of striving for more, moving forward, that's what we want. So another important aspect of speaking, and that's something that one of our teachers also mentioned, I think it was Gracia, that said fluency. Fluency development nowadays is something that our students struggle with. And before, we used to think that there weren't enough or there weren't any AI power tools to really help with speaking because what was lacking was the interaction, right? To be able to get feedback and move forward in our conversation. But now AI has moved forward so much that the way it can impact fluency has really transformed, I would say. Before we look into the AI power tool, we have to remember that fluency encompasses a lot of things. And we look at research, and we have to also look at what Mr. Toledo mentioned about the importance of methodology and pedagogy, and what literature says about how people learn languages. And in this case, what does fluency entail? Okay, so the experts in the field tell us that one way to define fluency is by examining aspects of speech. And one of these aspects of speech, one of these aspects is not part of fluency. And that is, speech rate is part of fluency, right? Pauses is part of fluency. But let's have a look. Length of speeches between pauses is also part of fluency, but accuracy is not, right? So if you're looking for AI-powered tools to help your students and they have grammar work, that's not going to help your students with their fluency. Yeah. So just for you to know, because I've seen teachers ask me, okay, I want my students to improve their grammar and fluency, but they don't really combine. We have to use a tool that is going to help our students with the speech rate, pauses, and length of a speech between pauses. That is a fluency focus. And if we want our students to focus on their accuracy, that's going to be a separate tool, and that we have a specific focus work, on structures, right? Now, speech rate is something that we also can quantify. If you look into the Common European Framework, for example, the A1 students, they can speak 60 words per minute or less. A2 will be 80 words per minute or less, B1, 100 words per minute or less, and B2, 120. So we have to look for AI power tools that can help our students with these numbers, so that we know they are becoming fluent, or they have a good level of fluency, etc. And guess what? Speech Ace has just this. This is what we've been looking for all this time, that I could provide before. But for me, for example, as a human, it was really hard to quantify how many words my student was giving me whenever I was, interacting with him or her. But the artificial intelligence can do it, and do it. I trust it in the sense that I think I can trust it. But of course, there could be a margin of error. But what I have seen, it seems pretty accurate. Another important thing to consider before we look at the tool is that fluency is the speed of flow of language production. So there has to be a good speed of flow, right? And it also means that the student needs to be able to control language items. It shows that a student can use different tenses, different vocabulary words pertaining to a specific field. And of course, that is measured by the way language and content interact. And content is something that we don't consider so much before, but now I consider more, because fluency is not just being able to speak a lot, for example, about my family. It also means to be able to speak, with a good speed of flow across different topics. And guess what? The artificial intelligence provides different topics now that our students can, practice with and improve their fluency. So let's look at that. For building fluency, we need repetition, speaking time, preparation before speaking, motivating topics, appropriate level, and time limits. All of this that research suggests is very helpful for fluency is what the AI-powered tool provides. Speech Ace provides just that. So there is a section in the Speech Ace called Fluency. You can click on Try It, go to the bottom option and click on Try It. Then it's going to give you a question, and it's going to provide you with an answer. You can read the answer if you want, or you can give your own answer. If you choose to read the answer, it's going to give you time to prepare, and then you're going to record yourself reading the answer. You can, after you read it, it's going to give you feedback. It's going to say, okay, you gave me 145 words per minute, so it's giving me the speech of rate, and you had one bad pause. So it's also assessing my pauses. Now, according to the CEFR, IELTS, it's also going to give me an international exam score. And this is 7, I think is pretty good for IELTS, depending on where you want to study. But 7 it's a good 7, more than 7, I think, is the desired score. So this person that gave that answer this or conducted this practice is on the right track, we could say, right? So for fluency, there are only, I think, 3 exercises, right? Again, so you're going to go to try in browser and then go to fluency speaking practice. And then you're going to have three sections to choose from. Okay, let me see if I can show you very quickly. Speech Ace over here, try in browser, go to fluency, choose one of the topics, and you're going to answer, right? Answer over here. Press play to listen to the question and then record your answer. So first you can click here to listen to the question. If you want, you can answer your own, but if not, you can read it, right? And then you can do this. There are 5 practices that you can do, and they get longer and longer. So it's pretty good fluency practice. But like I said earlier, I think the most important part for us as teachers is that it has the elements of fluency practice that go hand in hand with research. You know, there's preparation time, there is repetition involved, and of course, you can check your feedback according to the pauses that we looked at earlier, right? Length of speech between pauses and the speech rate. That is also important. Okay, so I think Speech Ace is a very comprehensive tool. It has a lot of features that can help our students. Go ahead and explore it. Go ahead and check all the things that you can do with it so that you learn it well, and then you're able to also share it with your learners. Very good. And so one more to work on is another AI powered tool that is going to help our students work on fluency based on content on different videos. And this is called English Central. English Central is also an AI powered tool. You're going to select your level by yourself. In this case, when you create an account, and you're going to see there are about 12 units that are for free. The units have 4 sections. First, you watch the video, then you learn the words, then you speak the lines, and then you chat about the video with an artificial intelligence. So the first part is watch the video, and then you learn vocabulary. The artificial intelligence asks you to repeat the vocabulary in the video. Then it focuses on lines, on sentences. So you have to listen to the sentences that are part of the video, and then you repeat, and the artificial intelligence gives you feedback on your pronunciation. But the cool part, and I think that's what is connected to fluency development, is the conversation with the chatbot, with Mimi. Her name is Mimi, or its name is Mimi. So it asked me, for example, hey, Diana, please explain the video in a few sentences. And I tried to explain the video, and it told me, oh, okay, very good. Can you tell me more about this study? So at the end of the conversation, it gave me a report. It gave me a conversation report. It told me how to improve some of my sentences, and it gave me an overall assessment of my fluency as well. So some of my students have been using this for some teachers that are working with different students are using it for their lessons. And also some students are also using it to improve. And also because it has so many great videos, they can learn a lot from different topics. There are topics connected, for example, to economics, to health, to sports. There are even videos about Peru. So students are really fascinated by the variety of content that they can find. Alrighty, so moving on. I think, okay. The last part, I think, is something that we can work on, which is conversation skills, role plays, info gaps, problem solving, and discussion and debates. This is something that before we didn't think that the students could engage with without other peers, without other students, or without us teachers. But now artificial intelligence provides role plays or problem-solving activities for our learners. It's incredible, really, how it can do that. And I'm going to skip ahead and show you that particular technology that provides role plays, and that is LanguageTalk. LanguageTalk does require you to create an account, but once you do, it will allow you to engage with the artificial intelligence in role plays. So you're going to go to the activity hub once you create it, and you can go over here. Once you see the hub, there are a lot of options, and one of the options is communicate with AI. So the AI section is over here. Communicate with AI. When you click on communicate with AI, you're going to be able to select the option of role play. But there are other ones. For example, chat about my interests or life, chat about anything, practice grammar, or have a debate. I chose do a role play. And then I chose the option of travel. Then it gave me more options, like, are you checking into a hotel, or are you ordering in a restaurant, are you buying a train ticket? I was like, okay, I'm gonna check into a hotel. So I said hi, and the AI was like, welcome to the hotel. How may I assist you today? And I said, oh, I need a room. And the artificial intelligence was like, certainly, happy to help you with that, Ms. Bermúdez. Do you have a reservation with that? So this is all AI generated. I did not give it any prompt. I did not say you are the clerk at a hotel. It just told me, okay, we're going to talk about checking into a hotel. And that conversation could go on and on and on. It was fascinating that there was this person there that I couldn't talk to, this chatbot, let's say, that I could talk to. So let me show you very quickly. My activity hub over here, communicate with AI. Oops. Oh, okay. So let me just quickly open my account. Okay, so continue the last conversation just to show you. Welcome. Welcome to a hotel. How can I help you? Can I get a room, please?
Certainly. We'd be happy to get you a room. Do you have a reservation?
Yes, I do. My last name is Bermúdez.
Great. Let me look that up for you, Ms. Bermúdez. What's your first name?
And, it would go on and on, like I said. So you can practice with this tool first. Go to LanguageTalk, create your account, go to communicate with the AI, work with the different role plays available. Once you know how to use it and how your students can best use it, if you are teaching a lesson on checking in at the hotel, then they can come here and work on this as a follow-up, right? So in general, AI-powered tools for virtual classes, we have several. We don't have more time for all the ones, but we have Readable, we have Practica AI, we have Figma, which is great for presenting grammar. We have Twee, that's great for creating lessons for you. Roshi, if you use Roshi AI, you can enter the link of YouTube video, and then that artificial intelligence will create the questions for your students automatically. So there are a lot of tools for you and your students. The most important thing is that you learn them, you become the model, you learn to use the tool well, and you give clear instructions and directions to your students so that ultimately you can reach learning goals and course goals and benefit from virtual classes, and of course, becoming self-directed learners, right? Virtual classes offer great benefits. There are awesome tools for teachers and students. We can become self-directed teachers. Students can become better self-directed learners. And if you use it well, AI can be your best ally. That's what we embrace at Ricardo Palma University. We need to learn to use it very well, make sure what our goals are in our lessons, and make sure the AI can help us reach our goals in our classes and our students' goals. Thank you for Thank you so much for spending these 50 minutes with me. We'd love to have you at the specialization program at Ricardo Palma University. We have great teachers this cycle. They're all super motivated. And yeah, it's a joy to share and learn together with them. Thank you very much. And I see some questions in the chat. There is a tool for teaching grammar. What Damaris is asking, but that's not going to like explain the rule for you. But let me see. So TWE, for example, this one over here. Let me just quickly go there. I don't know if we have time, Geraldine, but I can just maybe quickly tell Damaris that TWE can help you. You put the video that teaches the grammar point. Let's say you find a video of how to use used to, or simple present verbs or simple past. With the link on TWE will create the exercise for you. You can ask it to create a simple fill in the gap exercise or specific questions to focus on the form of the grammar. Like you can ask it to say, for example, what do we use when we want to talk about past habits? And because the video has that information, student has to watch the video to understand that used to is used to talk about past habits. So you will need to create the questions that help the students understand the grammar point, but you can show you can teach, let's say, the artificial intelligence to create the questions. I hope that answered your question. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the feedback as well. Thank you so much. For worksheets, Ariana, I have not created a lot of worksheets lately. I use Canvas a lot, and my students use Canvas. Canva is great for creating your worksheets. Now, for artificial intelligence to create your worksheets, Roshi AI is kind of like that, because you enter the video that is like your input and here, and it creates the questions for you. So when you look at it on the computer, it looks like a worksheet. Watch the video, answer the questions, fill in the blank, match. It will create different exercises for you, like fill in the blanks, match, and open-ended questions. So just with the video, of course, you can tweak it a little bit if you want, because it will create the questions on its own. So if you don't like the questions, you can edit them. And the same with TWE. You add the video, and then you tell it, okay, do the magic, and it will create the exercise that you want. So it will look like a worksheet. But of course, again, depending on your goals, you will have to adjust it. All righty. I think that's a wrap, Geraldine. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Well, there was one more question that I was interested in that was asked a little bit before. I think it was Janina. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Janina Loaiza, she said, I would like to know if there's a way to use songs in my lessons, if there's any tool to use songs.
Yes, there is one that I've used a lot. It's called lyricstraining.com. Have you heard of it?
Of course.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah, I use it a lot.
Okay, lyricstraining.com. So I don't know if you've used that, Janina. I'm typing it in the chat right now, lyricstraining.com. But lyricstraining.com. There it is. Lyricstraining.com. So, but I think that with Roshi AI, if you put the video of the song there, and maybe with TWE as well, you can have students listen to the song and then have a fill in the blank exercise or general open-ended question like, what is the song about? What does the song make you think of? Have you experienced what the song talks about, or things like that? I should probably explore that a little bit more, but I've only used lyricstraining.com.
Yeah, me too. And I see in the chat that some others like Ariana have also used it. So thank you so much. So many more tools that we need to continue exploring and learning, as you said, so we can use them more effectively in our classrooms. Thank you very much, Diana.
Thanks, Geraldine.
Again, thanks for coming. It was great. I see a lot of participation. And so with this, we have reached the end of our TDC 2024 virtual session. We want to thank the speakers, Pablo Toledo and Diana Bermúdez, consultants and publishers who have participated, but especially to you, this community, international community of English teachers who have been connected on a Friday evening with the sole objective of expanding knowledge and develop educational work. Thank you very much. We have to thank the SBS team as well for their job and support tonight. And again, we remind you that to obtain certificates of attendance, you must be registered. If you have not registered yet, please do it now. That will be all. Thank you. Everybody's thanking. We thank you very much for your participation and enthusiasm. And goodbye.